Welcome back to Money Meets Strategy. Today we got a fun topic. We're going to talk about mindset, the mindset of a CFO, and what should they be bringing to the table in terms of the leadership when they're in that CFO seat. A lot of times when I'm out networking or out having conversations with folks, I am still getting the question time and time again, what is the CFO and what do they do? Are they just creating the spreadsheet for me? Are they just creating a few extra things beyond what my accountant is doing, just creating the budget at the end of the year? What is it that the CFO does, and how do they really integrate into my business? And so I want to start answering this question first with the mindset of a CFO and what they should be bringing to the table. I'm going to start with a proverb. This is Proverbs 29:18. It says, "Where there's no prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint, but blessed is he who keeps the law." And so, what is this saying? I'm going to define a CFO in three different ways. Um, Prophetic vision. The CFO helps support and build the vision of the leadership team. So they are contributing in those conversations of what the vision should be. They are helping make that vision practical by turning into some of the deliverables you're maybe more familiar with, such as the year-end budget, such as a monthly three-statement model. They're helping make it practical and something that can be used to make decisions off of. And then the second part of the verse is that vision helps produce restraint. This is where the CFO also comes in, is we're helping keep the leadership team focused on a certain financial direction that we all chose as a team. Right. So this comes into play when, hey, there is a major decision that's coming up, maybe a new hire, maybe a new piece of equipment, whatever the case may be. We are bringing it back to the vision that we all set, which we will have in number format, and we're bringing the perspective of how do we stay focused to accomplish this vision. And where the verse ends is blessed, or other versions say happy is he who keeps the law. And so ultimately saying, helping build that vision, keeping the team focused on that financial vision is ultimately going to be something that produces life for the company, because we're going to start seeing our goals be accomplished time and time again. And so let's break it down even further. So we had to have some three high level things that a CFO should do. We should be supporting the vision. We should be bringing restraint and focus to the company. And ultimately, in the decisions we're making, we should see that produces life and gets us closer to the goals that we're heading. And so, what are some, I guess, to bring it a little bit more, even more practical to the day to day? Here's some things that I value when I look at a CFO. First off, I look for somebody who can see abundance even in the midst of scarcity. Here's the temptation for a lot of finance folks. Maybe revenue is slowing down. Things are feeling a little tighter. The first thing a lot of people turn to is, well, let's cut marketing. Let's cut the extra spend. What the CFO really needs to do is there may be cuts necessary from time to time, but we need to see, even through the scarcity of the season that we're in, we need to be able to think through it with an abundance type mindset of how can we thrive even in this situation? How can we build a stronger company, a stronger balance sheet, a stronger P&L, stronger cash flow, even in this season, so that we can thrive long term as a company instead of just thrashing parts of our business to achieve some sort of temporary outcome that we're looking for. So you need the person that's going to have that long-term mindset, even in the midst of seasons where things are more scarce. And so what might that look like, right? That might look like, hey, revenue's slowing down. Our profitability is getting tighter. How do we think about long-term decisions that we're making? Well, as the CFO, when I'm plugging those decisions into the model, into that vision that we brought to a practical level and put into number format, I need to think about it through the mindset of, hey, I'm not just solving today's problem, but I need to set us up for a good tomorrow as well. Right? Because in order to grow the value of this company that I'm participating in, I not only need to think through what increases cash flow, but what decreases the risk that that cash flow won't be there tomorrow. And so that's the type of mindset that needs to be had by the CFO. Another mindset item that needs to be had is the ability to speak truth to authority. I think a lot of accountants either fall on the side of really struggling with this or really excelling at this. But there needs to be the ability to frankly speak truth of, hey, this is a bad idea or this is a good idea, whatever the case may be, to the leadership team that we're participating on. If we don't have that ability to use the data that we're looking at every single day, be able to translate that into a story that makes sense to the leadership team, and then be able to boldly take a stance or opinion on it, we're going to have a hard time moving the vision of the company forward throughout the months and years. The last mindset, this is something I'm passionate about recently, is the idea of taking good care of the people within the organization. Um, sometimes finance has a reputation of, hey, we're just going to cut costs, we're going to cut corners, we're going to save money here or there. We need to make sure that we take good care of the people and that we, in the financial plan, have that in consideration as we're building the company. I received a question recently on one of my calls is, hey, one of the investors asked, hey, as we grow this company, how do we ensure that we're not burning people out along the way and we're not just stretching people thin and just running through people? Well, as the CFO, we need to have the mindset that that's actually a financial question. That may at first seem an HR question, and maybe there's elements of that in there, but that's a financial question. The reason is well, in order to maintain a properly staffed company, if we're hitting these other financial metrics, here's what our margin ends up being, which allows us to maintain this size of staff while still hitting our vision of what we want on our bottom line and still leading us into future years. And so that's the mindset we need to be taking is, hey, not only are these numbers and KPIs and things that we're looking at important for achieving a certain bottom line or a certain cash flow number, but they're important to make sure that we're maintaining a good workload and treating our staff well as well. And we should be able to, again, look at a three-statement model, look at a financial report, and be able to tell that story so that we can impact the culture of the company that we're working in as well. So again, just to recap real quick, what does a CFO do? They support the vision. They bring restraint and focus to the company, which ultimately brings life through accomplishing the goals and the vision of the company. And then what is maybe three mindset items that a CFO needs to have? They need to be able to see abundance in the midst of a famine. They need to be able to speak truth to the leadership team that they're participating on. And they need to be able to see the numbers in the lens that takes good care of the people that are in the organization. Hopefully that's helpful. We'll talk next time.